In a world surrounded by franchises, reboots, and shared universes, an elite team of podcasters will risk body and soul to investigate the depths of intellectual properties, one multiverse, subgenre, and trend at a time. Who are we? We're the IP Squad. Welcome back to the IP Squad and our ongoing investigation into live-action video game movie adaptations. I'm John Campbell. Joining me for this, he braved this one, folks. He was on the last one. In the interim, we lost one of our investigators.
Yeah, Elliot turned into a giant possum and skittered off into Outworld.
Yeah, Elliot's animality took over and left. Mike Gorgone is with us to talk about Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah, I don't blame Elliot for leaving. That was the correct move.
Yeah, because I gotta say, I if you listen to last week's episode, I don't have like a ton of love for that movie. I have some nostalgia for it, but recognize it's pretty dumb. It's a dumb movie. But if that's a dumb movie, this movie's brain dead. Like this movie's on life support.
This movie does... I will grant this movie one crucial thing, that it is a benefit to my life. It improves my existence in one very important way.
Possibly, just very curious to me, but yeah.
And that is that this is the sort of movie that lets me recognize the amount of hyperbole people have when they say, worst movie ever. I'm like, have you seen Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
Yeah.
Have you, there's a level of bad movie that I feel like most people don't see that doesn't let them recognize what a quote unquote worst movie ever even possibly looks like.
100%. I don't think I've seen anything in the last, at least at a major theatrical release, let me say. I don't think there's anything I've seen. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. But I don't think I've seen anything come out as a major theatrical release in the last, I'm going to go 10 years, that's this bad.
I was having
and I
an
include
exchange.
Morbius, Madam Web. Those are much better movies.
Madam Web?
Oh, I think it's better than this.
Okay, that's I don't know. That's a tough call for me. But
I don't think a lot. I don't think a lot better. But I will just say, at least on an acting level, it's better.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
And I think that, yeah.
But I was having an exchange about John Krasinski's recent film If.
Yeah.
Not a great movie, in my opinion.
No, but harmless.
But harmless. And so its themes are a little muddled, and the internal logic of the movie falls apart by the end.
Yeah.
If you start even thinking about it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So, sure, whatever. Yeah. Everyone in that is acting okay.
Yeah.
The CG looks fine for what it is.
Yeah.
And if you don't think about it too hard, it's totally harmless.
It's fairly pleasant on a surface level.
Right, but the thread I was reading was just If is the worst movie I've ever seen. And it's
no.
You haven't seen many movies then. Or at least in the full spectrum of film.
Yeah.
Because there is a deep, dark trench, and that is where Mortal Kombat Annihilation lives.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind... We talk about this a lot with superhero movies, right? It's because people come out with things like Craven or whatever, or even when people talk about Marvel movies, the idea that any MCU movie is anywhere close to as bad as, Steel, right? This era in the 90s, there's some real shit being put out by studio. I mean, some real stuff where you're like, God damn it, a studio signed off on that? Oh, what, are you kidding me?
Actors. James Remar read this script and said, fine.
I'm sure this bought him just a gorgeous boat. Just an amazing boat.
I really do.
You go to Remar immediately because he's the only capital A actor in this thing, right?
I mean, there's people I recognize.
No, there's people I recognize.
Brian Thompson of it all.
Yeah, but Brian Thompson we know as a genre guy. I think Brian Thompson has acting chops, but I'm used to seeing him in something like this. Remar is the guy who is slumming it here, right?
He is a sore thumb here.
Yeah, where you're just like, and the thing about it's so weird. Remar is such a weird choice to replace Lambert, because Lambert is obviously this incredibly unique, bizarre presence, and then you cast a guy who is like Remar plays like grizzled cops and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's such a harsh change, and he's playing this role very sincerely, but he's also just the most like American city modern guy.
Yeah. So he casting him as this like esoteric thunder god who in the last movie was this like puckish imp who would go from arena to arena being like, I don't think so.
Yeah. And now he's just like, hey, how you doing? I'm Raiden.
I am the son of the elder gods, Raiden,
who
must keep the balance between Earth and the Outrealm.
Kind of what it defaults to, right? It's like, I'm just going to be very sort of this, I'm just going to be very sort of serious.
I mean, he's James Remar.
Yeah. But it is just like I said, like, when I think of Remar, I think of like Walter Hill crime movies, not, when the second you see him in the wig, you're like, oh, uh-oh. Like the wig kind of works on Lambert.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie's got problems. It starts there. It doesn't stop there.
Well, the funniest thing, and we talked about this a little bit last week, the funniest thing to me about this movie always is that, of course, the first movie ended on this cliffhanger of Shao Kahn showing up, to be like, oh, you thought it was over, but get ready for round 2. And
Your souls are mine.
Yeah. And so then we start at that exact moment, and all but 2 of the cast are different. Like and
everyone's costumes are different at the start of this film.
It's objectively hilarious that is how this movie starts.
We ended the last movie with Liu Kang, Katana, Raiden, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage all coming back from the Mortal Kombat tournament being like, we did it, everybody. Hooray. Yeah. And then the clouds moved in. And Shao Kahn's spirit or ghost or something appeared above the Temple of Light,
making all the events of the first movie a complete waste.
Basically.
The line in this movie that really got me is when Liu Kang, or one of them, who could care? One of the heroes turns to Raiden and is like, "But I don't understand. I thought we won Mortal Kombat, so Shao Kahn isn't going to take over." And he's just like, yeah, he's not playing by the rules anymore. It's just like, oh, so it's just like, yeah, actually, it turns out he's just like, fuck that, I don't care, none of that mattered. Oh, great. I mean,
John, the poster did say destroy all expectations.
Oh, my God.
Expectations of story continuity or actors' abilities, all expectations.
Gorgone, I'm so glad you brought up the poster. Because I love this. The first movie had this very, like, cement, this ain't a game, this is a very real, tactile Mortal Kombat dragon. Here, because it's even more extreme, the concrete is exploding off of it to reveal a very real dragon underneath.
Which, by its very nature, has to be not real, because dragons aren't real as much as I want them to be.
I know. No matter how hard I wish. It's just so like this. Immediately, this movie's like extreme, because one of the things I saw reading background on this movie, which, dear God, is almost as stupid as watching the movie, that the big buzzword from the producers on this movie was more. It's the first movie, but more fights, more powers, more things from the game. Bigger.
It is. I don't know about bigger, but it is more.
It is more. I was shocked. Okay. I was shocked after watching this movie to find out that this cost much more than the last movie, because it looks way worse.
I mean, how many of the shots in this movie are filmed in a quarry? I beg you to find the answer to that.
It is.
I think it's at least 4.
It does. It's a quarry based movie, no question.
like right up there with every other Power Rangers fight taking place in an empty quarry.
Dude, the Power Rangers movie looks better than this movie.
Oh yeah,
Way
and I mean,
better.
When does the Power Rangers movie come out?
Around this time, 95, 96, I want to say. That
First Power Rangers movie.
that a cinematic event when I was a child. 95. So same
95
year
is the Mighty
as
Morphin Power
same year
Rangers?
as the first Mortal Kombat.
Oh, and it looks. I mean, look, this is a constant refrain from people who watch movies from the late 90s, but it is like, remember that Jurassic Park came out years before any of these films.
This came out the same year as Lost World. Annihilation
That's
comes out the
wild.
same year as Lost World. Yeah. Which, say what you will about some problems it might have. Not on a technical standpoint.
Visually, there are some gorgeous aspects to
Yeah,
Lost.
there's a couple set pieces in that I think like rank among the best of Spielberg. Really, the trailer over the mountain with the cracking glass and the raptors in the tall grass are both.
T-Rex into the waterfall is up there for me.
Yep. I mean, actually, the whole third act I love with the T-Rex in San Diego as well.
That I can give or take, but
Oh, that's still the movie I'm waiting for is Suburban Dinosaurs. Anyway,
yeah, right at the start of this movie, the only two actors who return are Robin Shou as Liu Kang
Yep.
and Talisa Soto as Katana. And look, they were definitely the weak links in the cast in the first movie.
Shu's big advantage is that he's the martial artist and also one of the fight choreographers on this, which I gotta say, I can't blame him entirely, but mission failed on the fights in this movie.
Yeah, the fights here are a little.
A lot of it is how they
there
are
a-
shot, to be fair, but no, there's not a good fight in this thing.
Because it's either them like punching somebody that isn't actually there, or
Yeah.
like part of their body is prosthetic, or like they're non-fights.
You at least get a couple moments in the first movie that are actual people who know martial arts trading blows. Here,
Actually,
I don't think you
will
get
say,
anything like that.
I think the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight in this movie is okay.
Okay, I might give you. I will
The
say
battle on the ice bridge is like not bad. The fact that Scorpion never shows back up in this movie is actually really weird.
Well,
now that I think about it.
can we also talk about the fact that when Sub-Zero shows up, they're like, "Didn't you die?" He's like, "No, I'm just his brother who's also Sub-Zero."
Oh, that's from the games, and it's a total like, look, it's fine, don't worry about it. It's Sub-Zero's younger brother.
I just love the idea of I'm a different character, but just go ahead and call me Sub-Zero too.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Doesn't he have a different
that
name in
didn't
the
really
games
bother
though?
me.
He does have
No, because
Is that
he's been a couple. Both of those brothers have been a couple of different characters. Because the original Sub-Zero is a character named Bai-Han, who eventually becomes Noob Saibot, which is a different ninja palette swap.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to being Sub-Zero at a certain point, while his brother starts as Sub-Zero, then becomes, I want to say in the current timeline, he's Scorpion actually.
Oh, is he Scorpion now? Ooh,
Yeah.
that's some Shakespearean shit. My brother
Yeah,
is my
yeah.
enemy.
Okay, there have been 3 different timelines in the
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat canon, so it depends on where you're sitting at.
No, I mean it's true. They have rebooted a few times. I mean that I will say, and as always, we are looking at it now through a lens where there are 14 of these games, and there were 4 when this movie,
Right, exactly.
So I mean,
But
I
in
do
the games
recognize.
in the games as they were out at the time, they were
Yeah.
already at the point where Sub-Zero died and his younger brother became Sub-Zero.
Yeah, Sub-Zero's brother. I just love the way that they're and befitting both of these movies, the way that all the characters are just okay.
Well, he's only there for a scene, so it barely matters.
Well, no, it is. I mean, I swear this movie also because I brought this up on the last episode, that it really does feel like they're just hey guys, sorry these two never fought in the last movie. Here you go.
Yeah.
Like it's just sort of unfinished business. We need a Sub-Zero and Scorpion fight, even though those characters have no bearing on the plot.
No. The only thing that Scorpion contributes to the plot is kidnapping Katana, and then Sub-Zero is literally just there to say, get out of here, I'll take care of this guy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just there to be I mean, there's no question. It's part of the more, right? More stuff from the game.
Yeah.
Like, this one was they were so proud to be like, no, this one's even truer to the games, you guys. All right? This one's really going to get it right.
When the movie opens up and we're introduced to, like, 5 new bad guys right at the start.
Holy
like,
God. Talk about Power Rangers. They all show up and he goes like, and I'm here too.
Yeah, I mean, this is our character select screen, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the only character that
they should have been dancing in place,
the rest
right?
of the
like,
movie. I mean, that's what they're doing, basically.
Yeah. But also, you're like, immediately, once again, they all look terrible.
Well, because we've got Sindel, who is Katana's mom. She's the evil queen.
Oh, my God. My favorite line exchange. Mom, you're alive? Yes. Too bad you will die.
I mean, that Vander.
That felt like an anime dub. That exchange.
It does. You'll recognize her face from just stuff because she's been in a ton of things.
No, that's the thing about almost everyone in this movie is like a working actor. But I'm saying, like, Remar's the only like name here, but pretty much everybody else I've seen and stuff, especially if you're into genre stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just horrible line delivery. We have Dion McBee as Motaro, the big centaur guy.
Oh my God, well, I'll talk entirely about all of Jax's lines later. But when Jax is like, I got Mr. Red.
We have Margene Holden as Shiva, who is basically Goro but a girl.
Yeah.
At this
Do you
point
want to be
Mortal
confused
she has
about
her
your
own like backstory and stuff? But at this point in Mortal Kombat, it's like, what if Goro but a girl?
Yeah. Do you want to be confused about your feelings towards Goro? Yeah. It's. Oh God.
And we have a couple of palette swap ninjas, one of which is maybe Noob Saibot. He gets thrown into a fire pit at a certain point, and the red one is Ermac, which is a character who has one line in the movie and then gets jobbed by Sonya Blade at the end of the film.
There's a lot of like, meet all these new characters. They don't matter. Like only a couple of them are actual threats to our characters.
I just want to highlight Ermac for a second because he is legitimately just a palette swapped Scorpion.
Oh yeah, 100%.
To the point where the whole reason the character exists in Mortal Kombat 3 is because of an early internet rumor among Mortal Kombat fans that if you played Mortal Kombat 2 on the Genesis for long enough, the game would overheat and then Scorpion's outfit would turn red because the game is going too hot. And that was wrong.
That was such a 90s thing though, of like rumors about, did you know there's a secret mode where this, and it was always like, a lot of the time those weren't true. Some of them were, but most of them weren't.
But then they just made that into an actual character.
Yeah.
In
I love the idea that they heard
game.
that rumor and went, that's kind of cool.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of what we'll get into it, but that's where animalities come from too.
Oh my God. Well, animalities are I brought this up on the last episode too. One of the silliest parts of the Mortal Kombat, where it's just like, I mean, it really does feel like, what are we going to do? They turn into... I mean, it's kind of actually where Transformers went, too, right? When you get into Beast Wars, it's like, animals?
It started because in Mortal Kombat 2, one of Liu Kang's finalities is turning into a dragon and chomping somebody's top half off.
Right.
Which, sure, he's channeling the power of Eastern dragonness into himself.
What I love is that... I love the yeah, sure on that. It's like, well, I mean, that makes some semblance of sense, But then it's just like, what if everybody did that?
Yes, and I have a list here I want to get into when we get to that part of the movie.
Because this movie tries to do animalities, and we'll get there, and it's a big mistake. I will say.
But last but not least, among our bad guys, we have at the start of the movie anyway, we have Brian Thompson as Shao Kahn,
who is going to be our main antagonist, really, right? Yeah, and Brian Thompson. I mean, a familiar face to any of us who know, 80s, 90s genre fare.
Totally. And he's still working to this day. He'll show up in genre stuff every once in a while as big tough guy.
Yeah.
That's his role.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we all probably his biggest thing is as the alien bounty hunter on X-Files.
Yeah, that's definitely what he's probably like.
That's what he's signing
recognized
photos
for a
of at a convention right now.
I think I probably knew him a lot as the judge in that one season of Buffy. I think it was 4.
Yep.
Or was that 5?
Let me see.
I think that's 4.
It's 2.
It's 2?
Yeah.
I get those. I get all the seasons of Buffy.
Yeah.
All.
I of course, being me, know him as the Night Slasher, the villain in Sylvester Stallone's Cobra.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. When he says, I'm the future, and Stallone says, no, you're history. Right before throwing him into an industrial smelter.
Of course.
That's how he kills him. The movie has to end in a giant metalworks factory. It just has to. Much like this movie has to be, at least 25% quarries.
So yeah, all the bad guys show up at the start of this movie. All the good guys are like, but they're breaking the rules, Raiden. Why could they do that?
And Raiden's response is like, hey, bad guy's gonna bad guy, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, Raiden, I will say, in this movie is on the back foot much more than he was in the first one.
I mean, he's basically on the back foot the whole film.
Yeah.
There's really no point in the movie where there's no like, fuck yeah, Raiden moment.
No, Raiden has to go find himself and get a cool new look.
Yeah, he's got to get a sleeveless shirt and a buzz cut.
I just love it. Remar's like, I'm not wearing the wig the whole movie, you hear me? That is not going to happen. I was in the Warriors, goddammit. Anyway.
And what a better movie, The Warriors, made 20 years before this.
Oh, I mean, what? Literally, like, this is sandwiched in between, like, Remar is fine, after this.
I know.
This didn't hurt his career at all. He's one of those Teflon guys, right? I feel like people are always, we talk about this a lot over on Meet the Monsters, certain character actors who can be in as much shit, but will always be like, yeah, you know what? Put him in Oppenheimer, or whatever. Like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, this is before he's Dexter's dad, which was a whole, long-running gig for him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Mortal Kombat.
Dexter's ghost dad.
Yeah. And he's back now that they're doing more Dexter. He's got his job back. I'm still a ghost. Oh, God. Apparently he's in the It prequel series as well. Yeesh. Well, get that money.
How can you do an It prequel series? Isn't it just a bunch of child murder?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
All right.
But like, hey man, I hope some kids come along to stop him someday. They won't in this show. Anyway,
I guess we should also mention the other replaced actors. We have Sandra Hess playing Sonya Blade in this movie as
a woman you would not be. Let's say you would not be completely wrong to not fully realize this is a different actress.
Yeah, she's definitely trying to channel some like Cynthia Rothrock in this movie, and I think that's the best. Imagine Cynthia Rothrock as
that's Blade. The dream, right? That's the dream casting. Like that is Sonya Blade. Oh my god. Well, just the idea that anyone with actual fighting ability would play any of these characters would be amazing. But
I think what many of our audience might recognize this woman from is from the Hasselhoff Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Where she played Viper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's also in real life married to Battlestar Galactica star Michael Trucco.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah. That's an attractive couple.
She was never in any of the Battlestars? No. I wouldn't have shocked me if she was in like the 80s remake or something.
No.
Oh, her first role's in Encino Man. Oh boy.
Hell yeah. Did Fraser ever get better than that, really? Come on. Yes, he did.
Yes.
Many things. Including his Academy Award winning role. Yeah. It's all right. Yeah. So we have her as Sonya Blade, and then You have to dig a little bit in the cast list to find that Chris Conrad is the name of the guy who plays Johnny Cage for the 2 minutes that he's in this movie.
Yeah, Chris Conrad's another one of those guys where, like, he's a dude.
He works.
Yeah, he works. He is a perfectly good, handsome white guy.
Yeah, he's TV handsome, right? He's just sort of blandly good looking. I mean, it's similar to Lyndon Ashby from the first movie, who played Johnny Cage, right?
Yeah.
These are guys who are like, I mean, they're not terrible, but they're not bringing much to it. But one of the controversial things about this movie is the instant murder of Johnny Cage.
Yeah, Johnny Cage
right
goes
away.
out like a punk.
Yeah, I mean, not even a heroic death. He is just straight up murdered.
Yeah, he tries to kick Shao Kahn right at the start of this movie. Shao Kahn snaps his neck.
Which, look, I understand. It's a different actor. That guy didn't want to come back because, according to him, he read the script and was like, no.
Oh, so he could read then.
Apparently, yeah. But he they bring in this, and then so they decide to kill off Johnny Cage. But it is just the like, what a middle finger to anyone who remotely liked that character.
And he was one of the few people that like brought a level of like charisma and quippiness to the first film.
I will say there's no question that Jax is meant to replace that energy in this movie, and
Sure.
he doesn't.
Well, Jack suffers from what I like to call late 90s black guy performance. And no offense to Lynn Red Williams, because he's probably doing what he's being asked to do.
Yeah.
But like there is this stereotypical performance that they ask like snarky black actors to do in the late 90s that like feels of a type in a lot of action movies.
Absolutely. I did feel like every single line he had in this movie is like, I'm the black guy. I'm black. As the black guy, I mean, it's just like every single line is like a, like sort of aside, except none of them are funny. He says every line as if it's some sort of quippy one-liner, and then I'm just like, that's not a joke.
Which I should have looked this up, but on the Mortal Kombat wiki, which I have been using extensively through all of this.
Oh, of course. You have to.
You have to, because some of this stuff is so convoluted. But there is a section on every character's page that is like quotes from them.
Yes.
And I wanted to see if any of them line up with his quotes from the games themselves. I'm gonna go with no.
I mean, they can only be better in the games. As I said, they're terrible in this movie. His lines are awful. Like, but once again, they're delivered like the way the camera pushes in them and stuff. Is like, oh, here comes the one-liner, and you're like, that wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, like, bring it is his, like, battle cry he does at the start of fights sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just... get some is, like, a victory quote he has.
Do you know what Lynn Red Williams was up to before this movie?
Do I want to know?
I mean, I don't think you're going to be surprised. He was
what is it?
An American Gladiator.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that tracks.
I'm trying to figure out which one he was. What was his... because they all had, like, Turbo and Blaster and... wait. His name was Saber.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I was always a Nitro guy. I loved American Gladiators as a kid, and Nitro was my favorite.
Wait, what is this? There was some kind of like Mortal Kombat Federation of Martial Arts, like some kind of exhibition VHS thing,
and he's in it.
Different.
I see that on his
with people dressed as Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah, he was in that as Jax.
Good for him, I guess.
Well, his IMDb photo is him as Jax. I think this is the biggest thing he ever did, and he's not good. Yeah. And should we say that once more? We talked about this last week. Once more, they tried to get Michael Jai White to play Jax, who's similar to Cynthia Rothrock thing. That's who you want, right? Like, that's the ideal. He chose instead...
Like, especially, like, late 90s Michael Jai White. Oh, boy.
He's got the
like,
martial...
No offense, he's aged, like, fine wine.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, but he's got the martial arts skills. He's got the physicality. He can actually be funny. He chose instead to star in Spawn.
That's fine. That's the correct answer.
Well, yeah, it's like, oh, I could headline this movie, which, once again, has its problems, but is way better than this.
Yeah, I mean, look, that movie has Annihilator in it, and so it can only be so bad.
I remember really liking it as a kid. But anyway, yeah. So once everybody, and pretty much the other thing that I see from this, pretty much why nobody came back. Lyndon Ashby said it was for the script. But like Lambert was like, well, I took another gig. They so quickly ran into this one that they were like, oh, no one's available. Doesn't matter. Just plow ahead. We need to strike while the iron's hot.
Which is wild because there's like a 3-year gap between these films.
There's it's a 2-year, 95, 97. That's short. Not so much now.
For movies especially.
Maybe now you might be able to pull that off, but also now you're locking everybody into contracts. Because Christopher Lambert had
been filmed back to back, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. They would, or at least they would have done 2 and 3 back to back, right? After the first one's success. Because Christopher Lambert had to go do his Beowulf movie.
Oh, of course, because that we all remember.
I'm just too committed to my Beowulf film. I have to start.
I have seen that movie. It is definitely a Beowulf starring Christopher Lambert.
That's exactly what you think. Yeah, so it's just like pretty much it's just like Robin Shue and Talisa Soda were the only ones who were still available because Brigitte Wilson also had to went and did something else. Like it's pretty much just like no one was available. It's the same reason Val Kilmer didn't come back as Batman. Was the same thing. Actually, exact same years, even 95, 97, that they just ran right into that. And he's like, well, I took this other gig. They're like, whatever, Clooney.
Yeah, the obvious 1-to-1 palette swap of Val Kilmer to George Clooney.
Yeah. Can we also talk about this is the she went Brigitte Wilson's and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. A much more successful movie.
Yeah.
No, I feel like everybody, maybe not the Lambert, although I feel like everybody took better gigs. Anyway,
I mean, low bar, John.
Yeah.
Low bar.
Yeah. And Paul W.S. Anderson went and made Event Horizon.
And and the world was better for it.
Yeah. Can we talk about the fact that this is the first film that Ray Park ever worked on?
Yeah, this is Darth Maul's first movie. He was the stunt guy for, I want to say, James Remar.
That's correct. He's Raiden's stunt double.
So I mean, at least this movie gave us Ray Park eventually.
Yeah. I mean, look, Ray Park is a treasure. Tony Jaa also did some fight work on this as well.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. And
again, I mean, would do much better things later in his career.
No, the thing about, once again, it's like the thing that bums me out watching this movie is then reading through the thing going like, but you guys had a lot of martial arts talent around. What were you doing? None of it shows up on screen. That should bring me to John R. Leonetti, this film's director, who I think is a big reason this isn't good. I mean, the script is also part of it.
Didn't even look into this guy.
This is his debut feature.
I see.
He was a
mostly cinematographer, it looks like.
Yep. I mean, look, after they saw his work in Spy Hard with Leslie Nielsen, they said, you've got no. No, he was actually the director of photography on Mortal Kombat. So they just, Paul W. Sanderson left, so they just moved one guy over. And,
would eventually go on to release the acclaimed Annabelle movie.
Yep. He directed that.
You know, that Conjuring spinoff.
Yep. Oh, there's going to be a Conjuring IP squad season without question.
Oh, I'm core.
Because that's an entire shared universe. It's crazy how many of those there are.
Yeah. Is it what? It's Conjuring, Annabelle, the Nun are all part of it?
Yep.
Are there any other franchises that are part of the Conjuring cinematic universe?
I think it might just be those, but there are more of those than you would think.
Yeah.
There's like a couple Annabelles and a couple Nun movies. It's wild.
Is Insidious part of all that?
No, that's its own thing.
That's its own thing?
That's its own thing, man. But I believe it's also James Wan, though, so it's all the same director.
Got it.
And it's also, I think the other thing is they're both Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, that's what gets me.
He's the lead actor in both franchises.
Okay.
This guy is and this guy shot a lot of James Wan's movies. That makes sense why they gave him Annabelle then.
You're talking about Leonetti. Got it.
Yes, and he actually was director of photography on Insidious Chapter 2. So it's all in the same world over there. Yeah, not story wise, but and by the way, his IMDb photo is him holding the Annabelle doll. Of course, because he's like, "Look, I made a movie." Anyway, yeah, I gotta say though, for being a director of photography, this movie looks like shit.
Well, it's the product of having a lot of people asked to do fighting if they don't know how to do fighting.
Right, and also, as you talk about, and then slotting in a lot of CG and puppetry, and so you're messing around. It's not as simple as just learning the fighting. I already don't know martial arts, and I'm being asked to fight a four-armed person, you know?
Right. Well, I wish the four-armed person got a fight in this movie. Shiva doesn't get a fight in this movie.
She mainly just stands around threatening people.
And then gets smooshed by a giant metal cage.
Yep. No, I mean, the thing about it is when we talk about the fights in this movie, I agree, maybe the Sub-Zero Scorpion fight stands out a little bit, but all of the other fights completely blend together in this just like, bleh.
Well, because most of them are cut so quickly that they don't have any time to really register because we have to get to the next fight. All the fights are
like
less than like 2 minutes.
But there's a million fights. Like there's more fights, but they're worse and shorter, and they're like 80% of the movie though is just people fighting.
And 2 of the big fights are with these guys that look like extras from VR Troopers.
Oh my god!
It's Cyrax and Sector, the 2 robot ninjas.
The robot guys are terrible in this, though,
because of how the costumes fit. The people inside those costumes can't do engaging fight sequences.
No, once again, the Power Rangers TV show had better outfits than this for some of their villains. My God, they're so clunky, and the second they show up, you're like, oh no, and that's the kind of stuff where I'm going like, they must have had less money. What's that? They had more money? The first one cost $18 million. This one cost $30.
Well, that's because of the excessive CG use in this movie.
The god awful CG though. Somehow the CG is even worse. I think because they rely on it more.
They rely on it more. It's actors, because CG, at least in terms of its use inside films, is still a relatively like untrained. I'm not going to say untested because it's been around for a while.
Yeah. Once again, we are 4 years after Jurassic Park, which really like raised the bar on what you could do with computers, and as we talk about, still actually looks really good.
And there were certain directors that were better at getting their actors to react to
Spielberg,
CG in certain
Cameron.
ways.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So it takes a specific kind of directing to have your actors responding in ways that, so like there isn't that rift between what's happening on screen and the actors reacting to it. The big one for me is actually right before the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight is they're fighting Sector, I want to say, because Cyrax is the yellow one. So Sector is the red one. It's Liu Kang fighting Sector, and he shoots a missile out of his chest.
Of course he does. Yeah, that's his big move.
That's his big move. I mean, that's his finisher.
He does it a couple times in this movie because more.
But he shoots a missile.
Yes.
And the missile has to move through a specific spot in the frame.
Yes.
And so that is happening. Liu Kang does a backflip to dodge it, but his backflip has to be like weirdly angled to dodge it. So there's this weird disconnect between the velocity and vector of the missile and the actor's actual motion in the screen.
Yeah.
And they don't quite line up.
No, that's very true. By the way, you mentioned a backflip there. According to IMDb, there are 54 flips in this movie.
Oh yeah, that doesn't shock me.
The amount of people, the thing is, like, that at least is, even if it's poorly done, motivated by something. Like, when you just get, like, them showing up at the villain's castle at the end of the movie, and Shao Kahn just does, like, a double flip to be like, hello, and just like, oh, dear God.
The shot that is probably used the most in this film, at least from, like, a cinematography point of view.
Yeah.
Is the low angle frame of nothing and an actor moving through the frame and doing a flip.
Yep.
That serves as the in-between shot between an actor jumping and an actor landing.
Right, and that's where it's Ray Park.
We never see the full continuous flip ever.
Right, yeah, because once again, it's an actor taking one leap back and then cut to a stunt double and then doing the whoo. Yep. Yeah, once again, that's exactly. Those are your Ray Parks and Tony Jaws doing the actual flips.
Of course.
Yeah. And then eventually somebody went, why don't we just put them in the movie? That would make a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make sure he is voiced by Peter Serafinowicz. And then,
a given.
We're off to the races.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't have him fucking talk. Unless he's Toad, then he can talk like himself.
Unless he's Toad, then he can talk.
I actually no issue with the Toad performance necessarily. Stuff around Toad is bad in that movie. But I wouldn't say any of that's on Ray Park. Anyway, he also played. Yeah, do you think Lucas saw this one? I hear this Ray Park fellow might be useful for my picture.
I don't know if he saw this film.
All right, one for Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Big fan. Well, maybe Steven took him.
I like it when the girls fall in the mud.
Maybe Steven took him. We know Spielberg's a huge Mortal Kombat guy.
Yeah.
He was going to be in the first movie.
God, can you imagine if that actually stood as and this one time when Spielberg had a cameo in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, the 3 times he's ever acted, and one of them is Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I mean, here's the thing. What is the plot of... Okay, so Shao Kahn... Here's the other thing that's great about this movie. Shao Kahn shows up at the beginning, and he's just like, yeah, who cares about the outcome of Mortal Kombat? The big plan here is I'm going to merge Outworld and... In-world? I mean, our Earth?
Earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's Outworld and
Realm.
Earth. Yeah, Earth Realm. Whatever. Midgard, who cares? But
Midgard * Earth.
Yeah, whatever. But it's gonna happen. And it's gonna happen in 6 days. So you better get yourself ready. That's just enough time for you to come up with something to foil me. Bye.
The 6-day time limit at the start of this movie is clearly it's a biblical illusion, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Says, the Lord created the earth in 6 days, and I shall destroy it in 6. But what does Shao Kahn have to do with Christian mythology at all?
No, it's nonsense, and it's really like I said, it is just the thing about I got to give you guys time to get your defense ready for the plot to happen,
right?
But they go,
yeah.
But they act
this whole thing is he's opened up portals to Outrealm, or Outworld, and they are slowly merging the two planes together.
Yeah. By the way, Paul W. Sanderson is quoted as saying he regretted not directing this movie only because of how bad it turned out.
Fair enough.
Maybe I should have come in and fixed that. Maybe I could have done something. Although, let's be honest. Come on, man. Yeah.
Shao Kahn and our named bad guys teleport away. That gives time for Katana, Liu Kang, Raiden, and Sonya to get out of there. Now they've got to split the party so that they can go gather some help and maybe do a little training.
This is our empire, right? We got to break up the party so everybody can get together. Because Raiden's Raiden is really the one who's I got to rethink everything now, man.
Well, he's going to go off to talk to the Elder Gods, which is a whole thing in Mortal Kombat lore.
Oh my God. The later thing about, wait, your father's an elder god? Yeah.
Sucks to suck. Anyway, the whole Raiden and Shao Kahn being brothers thing that happens in the movie, that is like a third act twist, that's totally made up for this movie.
Well, and by the way, talk about Empire, right? They're we need a thing.
Yeah.
But even still, the way he's just oh yeah, well no, because Shao Kahn's my brother.
Right. And there's this whole shadowy figure that's talking to Shao Kahn the whole movie that's Shao Kahn's dad. That is a character named Shinnok, which is a thing from the games.
But he is not
the elder god of death.
Right, but they've now made it that he's specifically their father, and they are, the Cain and Abel to keeping unbiblical stuff of Mortal Kombat. Yeah. And he is just there to go, I'm sorry, you did what, Shao Kahn? That's not what I wanted. Curse you.
Yeah, basically. And obviously they're setting him up as like some kind of bigger bad, but then they send him to the Phantom Zone at the end of this movie and it doesn't really matter.
Oh, when he turns into blocks and disappears, I was like, wait, what? Bloop, bleep, bloop. That was actually setting up a Tetris movie that they were gonna eventually.
Yeah. So Sonya has to go rescue Jax because he's a character from the games.
Oh my god, the idea about like, yeah, Jax, remember your best friend and partner? Oh yeah.
Played by a completely different actor in this film.
Yeah, because Jax really wasn't a character in the first movie.
No, he was there for like 2 lines
Yeah.
to say, Sonya, don't get on that boat.
And they just make a point of her going, thanks, Jax, a named character that fans will know.
And then we have Raiden going off to talk to the Elder Gods.
Yeah.
Then we have Liu Kang and Katana going to find a guy named Nightwolf.
By the way, man, do not pair these two charisma vacuums together. Good.
But they have to have a love story, John.
The thing that we talked about, they cut out of the first movie, they do in this one, and I'm like, you were right to cut it, and it should have been cut here. This doesn't work at all. Number one, the movie has no time for it. You don't believe the romance for a single second, and then you go to probably the 2 weakest actors in the movie together in scenes. Jesus, those are rough.
It's fine, because Katana's going to get kidnapped here in the next sequence.
Well, we have to have somebody. It's her turn. Sonya Blade got taken in the last movie. Katana's got to get kidnapped this time.
But to get where they're going, they have to get into the Super Monkey Balls.
Holy God. When they get into these... when they get into these little spheres...
Yeah.
And roll under the earth? Is that what's going on?
Sure, why not? Don't ask me where these come from. This is not a thing in the
No,
games.
of course not. But just
as far as I know.
And then I my favorite is Robin Shou having to be like, "Wow, this is really convenient." I didn't know
Like,
these secret balls that tunneled under the earth existed.
They just needed some way to get them to different stages, right?
What's so funny is it's just so clearly them standing still on a green screen that's whipping past them.
Oh, yeah.
Like the balls that they're in aren't even moving that much. It's just like whoosh.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Liu Kang and Katana kind of get sidelined on the way to where they're going because they get attacked by smoke.
Yes. The thing about this movie is
the black palette swapped robot ninja.
The structure of this movie is we have to go somewhere. Oh no, somebody has shown up to fight us on our way there. Like that just keeps happening. I found it very funny at a certain point. It's like, oh, and another fight has broken out.
By the time we get to Melina in like the third quarry, you're just like, I'm sorry, where did this person come from?
No, it's just like, well, we have to get over there. Oh shit, it's a robot or it's a whatever, you know? It's like, oh no. Mm-hmm. And so then they have to fight and it's lame. Even though Robin Shou does know what he's doing, it doesn't matter because of how it's being presented.
Well, and again, like they're up against a guy in a clunky robot ninja suit. So inherently there's not going to be as much dynamism between Robin Shou like doing his kicks and flips versus a guy who can't do any of those things.
By the way, Robin Shou's also in Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li. Jesus, man. And he was in DOA.
Guy's got it tight.
God damn it. I saw DOA.
He only got those 2 movies because of these movies, right?
Yeah. I mean, yes, obviously. Oh, God. Man, he's in multiple of the Death Race movies. Paul W. Sanderson made the Death Race remake with Jason Statham, and then Robin Shou.
And there were a bunch of sequels, right?
Yeah, straight-to-video sequels. He's in all of those, too. I mean...
There's a season of the IP Squad, right? Death Race?
Well, it's been discussed, actually. Because there are multiple continuities, because I don't know if you know, then a couple years after the Paul W. Sanderson movie, somebody made an actual sequel to the Corman movie.
Oh, I did not know that.
Somebody actually continued the original continuity. So, yeah, there's like 6 or 7 movies in there. So, yeah, it's a season.
Okay.
You want to come back for that, Gorgone?
No.
That also feels like Michael Listman territory.
While Liu Kang and Smoke are fighting, Sub-Zero shows up.
Sub-Zero
kills Smoke.
Yes.
But don't worry, it's Sub-Zero 2, the sequel.
Well, yeah, because they have to put in the line about like, wow, Sub-Zero. Wait, Sub-Zero, you died. Actually, I'm Sub-Zero's brother, also called Sub-Zero. Cool. Great.
And I'm played by an actor who played Reptile in the last
I know, that is so weird, right? That they were just like, you're Sub-Zero now. Because, wait a minute, yeah, because Scorpion in this is played by J.J. Perry, who I actually know as a really good stuntman who has since become a director. He did that movie Day Shift with Jamie Foxx, and he just put out a movie. I actually just watched his movie the other night, Killer's Game, I think it's called, with Dave Bautista. Pretty fun.
Because, in this movie, he plays Cyrax, Scorpion, Noob Saibot, and one of the Barakas.
So he just showed up every day and go, which costume are you going to put on me today?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, sure. But yeah, Keith Cook is Sub-Zero here.
Yes. And then they fight. But then Sub-Zero gets into a precarious situation. Liu Kang, because he's the hero, goes to save him, which gives Scorpion an opening to go and kidnap Katana.
Yeah. And of course, though, not before he says, "Get over here."
And fooled you.
Yeah. In a way, though, that, like, it's cute that they got Ed Boon to do it from the game, but the way he says it in the movies, in the first one and this one, it's as if the voice is just emanating from somewhere.
I mean, look, Scorpion's a weird zombie ninja. Sure,
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, once again, I guess it's unfair of me to compare these to the more modern movie where they, like, and this is a weird sentence, ground these characters in a certain way.
And I mean, even in the new movie, Scorpion is a weird zombie.
No, yeah, it's just he makes more sense. I understand, it's all insane, but, like, yeah. Here, though, they're just like, it's me, Scorpion. Get over here.
Sector isn't in this movie. I mixed up my ninjas.
Oh,
Apologies.
Jesus.
It's just Smoke and Cyrax.
At a certain
Sector
point,
does not appear.
After they introduced the, like, fifth villain right at the start of the movie, I'm like, you can't possibly ask me to remember these people movie. that just, there's no way. Because I wasn't. This one, really. I like that they... reading quotes from the production of this movie, and after it didn't do well, they were like, "Oh, well, the problem was we made it too much for the people who like the games." I'm like, I guess, except I don't think they liked it either. But I kind of get what they're saying, where they're like, they are introducing all these characters as if you know them, like the villains at the beginning showing up. Each one is given like an introduction with a pause for an applause break, right?
Right, like, oh, Motaro's here.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they're just like, they talk about one of the producers going like, that might have been the mistake, because the first movie did seem to actually just appeal to action fans as well. This one, although I still think the first one even indulged in that too, but I guess there was enough there. And there was at least fun. I gotta say, this movie isn't nearly as fun. It doesn't have as much of the weird, like, comedy and stuff that's in the first movie. The first movie is dumb, but it's, like, watchable. This one really was a struggle to sit through. At one point, I thought this movie was ending. When they get to Outworld and they reassemble everybody, I'm like, here we go, climax of the movie. And I look, and there was 45 minutes left. I was like, holy shit, I thought there was going to be 15. Like,
and this movie is only an hour and 30 minutes.
I know.
10 of those minutes are credits.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like, even at this shorter runtime, this thing drags like nobody's business.
You had best bet that they give a credit to every single song on the soundtrack in the.
Oh man, and I gotta say, the soundtrack really gave me a headache this time.
So the soundtrack is interesting because this is the weird like midpoint in like electronic music that is like shifting into like electronic music is in the late 90s is starting to be adopted by a bunch of different genres as well. Yeah. So you're going from like EDM, electronic dance music of like the mid and early 90s into some of the more like experimental stuff and like metal that's co-opting electronic sounds, like
Right.
Rammstein's in the credits for this. But you also have like a remix of a Megadeth song. But you also have stuff that will become hyper utilized in the Matrix films in 2 years, right? Because you have Juno Reactor, you have KMFDM, you have Lunatic Calm, some of these like electronic and like techno bands that you're like, oh, and in the early 2000s, this would have had like the Crystal Method and stuff,
Right.
And that's what we'll get in the Matrix soundtrack.
And I feel like the first movie, I thought the soundtrack was pretty awesome. This one has its moments, but I feel like there was way more in this one where I'm like, oh God, this is just noise now. Like it's
some of it is, yeah.
Because so much, once again, because the movie is, I think the other thing I'm feeling is the movie is so jam packed with fights that there's more music, right? So it's just like so much of the movie is just and it's like Jesus, it never ends.
And because the fights are so like quick and like we just got to get to the next fight, the needle drops feel more like sudden and less impactful, right?
Right, yeah.
Because there's just so many of them, one after the other.
Every music cue in the first movie felt motivated by something, and you could kind of like vibe with it. You're like, okay, this is the sound of this thing. This one is just bam, bam, boom, 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 and just the whole movie. This movie is assaultive. Like it's just overwhelming to the senses, and to the point that it becomes boring. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like when I'm saying it drags, it's like a lot of stuff is happening, but you just kind of eventually your brain just goes, fucking forget it. I'm not following this.
There was a point where I was watching this movie this morning, and we'll get to the talking about like when it happens sequentially in a second, but the Sonya Blade Melina fight that happens in the quarry where they're both like mud fighting each other.
You mean the third fight in the quarry?
Sure. Because let us be honest, the Liu Kang smoke fight was also in a quarry, but it was a quarry with like a ceiling. And we'll get to another quarry when we get back to Raiden. But I like kind of zoned out a little bit during the Sonya and Melina fight, to the point where it's like when I refocused on the movie, like, I don't know, 90 seconds later, it was over, and I wasn't like, did she die? What happened there? And I had to back it up. And like, she doesn't really, like, there's no finishing move in that fight. She just get kicked and falls over.
I had that same reaction, and I didn't zone out. The movie just doesn't care. That fight is just like, I'm sorry, we've run out of time for this fight.
And then Jax shows up and punches a CG monster a bunch of times, and then the movie keeps moving.
Oh, by the way, much like I was obsessed with Kano's unexplained robot eye in that movie, the scene where she just finds Jax now with the robot arms, or they're not robot arms, they're
exoskeleton arms.
Yeah, whatever. And just the idea that she's like, hey, what happened? He goes, oh yeah, I got these to increase my strength and stuff. What?
The implication is that he's getting suited up so he can go rescue her because she disappeared to Mortal Kombat Island. But in the timeline of these films, how long ago did that happen?
Unclear. I mean, it seems like a week, maybe.
Maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
Like if you, because all of the Mortal Kombat tournament happened, and then the events of the beginning of this movie, and then she went right from that to this. So a few days.
Yeah. So anyway, they find
Makes
him
no sense.
on Hawaii, of all places.
Yeah, well, that's where you go to get your robot arms.
And Sonya has to fight. She gets Jax out. He breaks himself out with his new fancy robot arms, and that's when Cyrax, the yellow robot ninja, shows up.
Yep. So that they can fight. Hey, whoa, man!
Fight. Sonya gets to do her actual like fatality move, which is the fiery kiss. Was always the thing that her like finisher was, even from the first game.
Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff I see once again in this movie where they're going, we want more things from the game. Well, you're doing that, but you just forgot to write a script around it.
Cyrax has his weird like melty sphere thing that he can do.
Yeah,
and he accidentally hits a goon doing that, and it melts them, and the CG bones.
Well, even
they're not even real bones that fall.
Oh my god! And the way they fall is so lame.
you can see them like stop animating at a certain point,
Yeah.
and they just like kind of freeze.
They just kind of hit the ground with like a sound. It's just a quick,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And once again, I mean, you know, on that note, of course, this one is also a PG-13.
Yeah, of course. There's not even the cool like skeleton scorpion getting his head sliced in half like stuff in this movie. There's nothing.
No, I think that they hold back even more so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's really bad, you guys.
Then we have Raiden in the like temple with the other elder gods being like, "What the fuck, guys?"
Hey guys, what's up? And then I mean, I was
like, "How did Shao Kahn do this?" And all the gods are like, "Look, we don't know, but like, if you want to actually bring the fight to Shao Kahn, you're gonna have to stop being a god, okay?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Okay, does that mean I get to take off this wig?"
And they're like, "Yeah, sure thing, buddy."
Yeah. My favorite Remar thing is where they go like, "Raiden, you look different," and he does like a run through his hair. He goes, "Yeah, new look." Just like he's really proud of it.
For some reason, I have this memory in my head of him, like the recast happening like mid-movie for some reason. My child brain just remembers Remar not being in the film for the first like 10-15 minutes.
That would be even funnier. That like Remar only shows up once he becomes human. Or
yeah. I don't know why, but that's a memory that exists in my head.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not the case because it's him in a wig. But like my 9-year-old brain,
sure.
Like, and then he totally turns into a different actor halfway through the movie. I don't get it.
You're like, this is bold, man. I've never seen a movie take these kind of risks. I also like the idea if he gets sleeveless because it's like Remar's like, well, I did put in the work unlike Lambert, so let me show off the guns.
I mean, he looks okay. He looks fine.
He looks like your dad who lifts some weights in his garage, you know?
Yeah.
He's looking, he's a fit dude.
Yeah. It's not bad by any means. We get a scene with Shao Kahn and his dad where he's just like, we're being evil.
Yeah. That's another one thing. I feel like in every scene with his dad's like, what do you mean you didn't kill that person?
Yeah.
You should have killed
we
them.
Get the scene with him and his generals where we're like led to believe that his generals are failing him, though we're not even entirely sure what they're supposed to be doing this whole time.
No, everything is very vague, right? He's going to merge the worlds, but what he's doing to do that, it seems like a process. Like this is a process that has to, like, what do you have to do to make that happen? It seems like it's once it's started, it's just happening.
He's leaving a portal open, and so long as the portal is open, the merging is going to continue.
Yeah, I'm saying that's not really good for like a film.
but then he's talking to like Motaro and
never have
Shiva
to tech the tech, you know.
And Noob Saibot, and they're like, yeah, and we've collected this many souls for you, Lord Shao Kahn, having never shown them doing anything of the sort.
No, there's a whole thing where they talk about killing characters off screen.
Oh, yeah. Noob Saibot says, like, we've killed Stryker and Cabal, characters from Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah. They actually mention Mortal Kombat characters, who I think at some point were going to be in it, and then they didn't have the money.
Yeah, of course.
But the scenes where they allude to those scenes happening are still in the movie.
Also, Raiden at this point has sort of alluded to it a few times, but... Katana's mom, the evil Queen Sindel, is again alive for some reason, and everyone seems to be working under the assumption that she's the key to stopping this from happening.
Yeah, because
no indication as to why.
Well, they're trying to give Katana a storyline, right? It's not working.
Yeah,
but they're trying to base her in something.
But the whole thrust here is like, if Katana can get to Sindel and convince her to stop all of this, it'll stop. Yeah,
but it's because the idea is she's been corrupted somehow by them. What's exactly happened to her?
Sindel's been brought back to life as like a corrupted version of herself,
right?
By Shao Kahn,
right? It's the I mean, sometimes dead is better. They put her in the pet cemetery, and now she's
Yeah,
different.
basically.
Yeah.
She came back wrong.
Yeah. They come back different. Yeah. Yeah, we need Fred Gwynn in here to describe this. Yeah, no, and it's all pointless. And they obviously then have to fight later.
Sure, of course.
I mean, everything in this movie is just, how do we seed another fight?
Well, speaking of which, let's get to Liu Kang and Nightwolf, huh?
Oh my God, I can't believe we haven't talked about Nightwolf. Here comes Nightwolf, which I gotta say, once again, I haven't seen this movie probably since it came out. Because even as a kid, I was like, this one's not as good. I would not have been able to really describe why, but I didn't like it as much. It's like how I felt about Superman 3 and 4. Something's wrong. Yeah. Watching this, and I was like, you have to go find Nightwolf. And I know Nightwolf from the games, and I'm like, oh no. How bad is this going to get? And the answer is not as bad as it could have.
And I think that is mostly due to the fact that Nightwolf is barely in this film. I think he's in one scene.
Yep. I mean, number one points to they actually cast an actual Native American actor.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Lightfoot.
Lightfoot, who's in a lot of stuff.
The titular Indian in the cupboard.
Oh, yeah, man. And
I mean, that movie has its own problems, but
I remember being so taken with the idea of that movie, probably more than the movie itself, but just the idea that you could make your toys come to life was so exciting to me. But also, actor in previous episode of the IP Squad, back when we were doing our our pulp movies, Cole the Conqueror.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, which he was in right before this, and then here he is as Nightwolf.
Yeah, and he's in there for a scene, and he's like, Liu Kang, you've come here to train. You need to unlock your animality. What's that? A thing from the games.
I mean, it really is just like, the animalities they don't really matter, except for it's a thing from the games that they can use later as a total Star Warsy, like, use your animality, Liu Kang. Oh, right. You know.
Okay, so to explain animalities a little bit.
This does lead us to animalities. Yeah.
It does. In Mortal Kombat 2, one of Liu Kang's finishers was turn into a dragon, and it looks like the dragon that's from the logo. It's like serpentine, S-shaped dragon, a little bit like Trogdor the Burninator. And he chompas one of his enemies' top half off.
Right.
Now, that got the fan community a buzzing. Like, if Liu Kang can turn into a dragon, what can everyone else turn into? Everyone was like, well, of course Sub-Zero has to turn into a polar bear, right?
Obviously.
And, like, of course,
because
the character of Stryker, who is the cool new character, has to turn into a T-Rex.
You know it.
And that is actually what Stryker ended up.
We were just talking about that beforehand too. Is that's like, man, such an attempt to be like, what's the raddest thing we can turn a guy into? T-Rex. So,
for the rest of this film, Liu Kang is going to be the only one in this movie that has an animal. When we're introduced to Nightwolf, he is in wolf form and he attacks Liu Kang briefly before having one of the ugliest reverse werewolf transformations I've ever seen.
I mean, here's my big issue with the animalities of this movie. Not only do they just feel shoehorned in, the technology, they barely have the technology to do the stuff they're already doing. Animal transformations is way beyond their grasp.
Yeah.
They look terrible.
But, John, because we did not get any further animalities in this
I know,
movie,
and I bummed.
I would like to ask you a series of questions about what do you think the animalities for the characters who we have in the film at the very least. I won't go through the whole
right. Yeah, no, yeah.
So, let's start with everyone's favorite robot arm guy, Jax. So what do you think his animality?
Oh god. Is he like a jungle cat of some kind, like a panther or a jaguar?
He's a lion.
Okay, all right. Even simpler. Yeah.
Johnny Cage.
Oh man. Is he like a shark?
Nah, kangaroo.
Okay, that makes no sense. I thought they were gonna make him like
because he kicks.
Oh, they all kick. I'm just saying, like, I was trying to go with, like, what's, like, a slick Hollywood kind of thing. I thought shark. Okay.
Sure. Liu Kang, obviously a dragon. Katana.
Ooh. Oh, man, Katana. Does she turn into, like a Wolverine? Like something with claws?
Nope. A rabbit. In a clear reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. She turns white
Okay,
rabbit.
so there was just no way to get that one, is what you were saying. Because I can't follow any of that. Yeah.
What about our favorite electric guy, Raiden?
Oh, Raiden. Is he like a bird, like a majestic bird?
Electric eel. Totally off.
Oh, okay. My mistake. I went for like his character, like a wise owl or something. They just went 1-to-1. This is his power set.
Yeah.
That's
Shiva,
by the
our four-armed Lady Goro.
I love the idea that somebody already has 4 arms would need an animality. I don't know. A badger.
No, a giant scorpion, which of course brings us to Scorpion.
Well, that was why I would never have said scorpion. He does not turn into a scorpion?
I mean, I will say that none of the animalities are...
Okay. All right. He turns into a beetle. He just turns into a different bug.
No. It's way more obvious than that, John. He turns into a penguin.
Oh, my God. Why? Why?
And he lays an explosive egg, and that's how he kills his enemies with his animalities.
So they weren't even trying, is what you're saying.
The animalities were in there basically as a joke.
I mean, that is a joke, yeah.
There are, like, another great example is, of course, Reptile. You know, the green ninja who is also a lizard.
Yeah. Well, shouldn't he be a
What
lizard?
do you think he turns into?
He's not a lizard?
Oh, he's a chimpanzee, of course.
I love the idea of there's stuff like Raiden has electric powers, so he's an electric eel, but Scorpion is a penguin. Wait, what?
So the animalities are right up there with the babyalities, which is like when you turn your enemy into a baby was a thing that you could do in Mortal Kombat 3 and 4. And then there were also the friendshipalities where you don't actually kill your enemy, but you kind of do like a goofy finisher.
Well, I also remember that when they did the Mortal Kombat DC game, they didn't allow fatalities because DC wouldn't allow their characters to be massacred. Which, fair. No, nobody needs Wonder Woman's spine ripped out, you know.
I will say, when they did animalities again in Mortal Kombat 1, there is a little bit more of a makes sense lineup. We have Johnny Cage as like a great white shark because he looks like Jaws from the Hollywood film.
What did I say?
We have Scorpion turning into a scorpion.
That's the one where it's just like, okay, yeah, that is a joke because you're just fucking with people at that point, right? Like,
yeah. Liu
Reptile
Kang actually turns into a phoenix in that one, which makes sense because he also has fire powers.
Yeah. Does Reptile turn into an actual reptile?
Reptile is the weird one I wanted to bring up last. No, he turns into a giant Venus flytrap.
Fucking these people just can't. They can't resist, can they? They can't resist. Oh my God.
That's part of the charm of Mortal Kombat, though, is that there's this undercurrent of silliness to the games, and there always has been.
I mean, no, there definitely has been. Actually, that's one of the things I complain about in this movie. I wish this movie embraced that more. This movie is dumb. The first movie is silly. This one is actually dumb. Yeah. Like, this one doesn't feel like it's in on the silliness. Oh, go ahead.
Just as a fun side on the animalities before we get off.
Yeah.
So there's been for a while now like guest characters in the Mortal Kombat franchise where they'll bring in characters from different IPs to like be fighters. Right. The most recent one we have Conan the Barbarian, Ghostface, Homelander, Omni-Man, Peacemaker, and the T-1000.
Hell yeah.
Would you care to guess any of their animalities? Because of course they have to have them if they're in the game.
God, I didn't realize they were still doing animalities.
This is the first time they've brought them back in a long time.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I haven't played a game with animalities in it.
I mean, for you, what do you think Peacemaker's animality?
I mean, is it not an eagle?
It's a bald eagle. Of
Oh,
course, it's a
yeah.
bald eagle.
For his best friend Eagly.
Yeah, of course. Ghostface turns into a condor. Not quite sure what the connection is there.
Well, because
I think Conan's work pretty good. He turns into a bull and like gores people.
Yeah. That works.
The T-1000 turns into a German Shepherd. That's a fun little like, of course, because he's German.
No, wait, you said the T-1000, right?
Oh yeah, because he's a cop dog.
Because he's a cop. Yeah, that's why I was thinking. Yeah.
Omni-Man turns into that big monster that he has to fight. Hail Mary.
Okay. Yeah. What does Homelander turn into?
Turns into a griffin. That one is a little like, it's because they gave the bald eagle to Peacemaker.
Yeah. I think that is the problem there, because you have to. He loves them too much.
Yeah, of course.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation. This thing really, I feel like, getting to the climax of this movie, I feel like really kind of just runs out of steam.
Oh yeah, I mean, as soon as we get to the whole sequence in Outworld, where
which, like I said,
and
is
then
45 minutes.
Show up and everyone has to fight a reptile.
Yeah, it's 45 minutes. Once again, because I looked, as I said, that's way too long to spend in Outworld. Even though, once again, that was part of the mandate. More Outworld. More.
We totally skipped over introducing Jade into this film, a second act twist character that accomplishes nothing.
Yeah, and they are just basically like, it's Jade, you guys. Jade.
Yeah, played by Irina Penteva. She's been in stuff. She was in a couple episodes of Third Rock from the Sun. She was in Zoolander.
Not much. I think she was a model.
Yeah. And she and Liu Kang have a misunderstanding-based fight, and then she's like, but I love you. And he's like, but I love Katana. And then it's like, okay, we're friends now.
And I'm
Come on, Jade.
And I'm like, why does anyone love anyone based on this? At the end of the movie, when Raiden's talking about, because you're all family now, I'm like, what? I'm not getting any of that relationship you're alluding to.
Also, they've spent the whole movie apart from each other.
I know, it really is. And they spent a couple days together before that in the first movie. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Because, they plow into the final fight sequence here, and everyone pairs up somebody. Jax gets Motaro. Katana gets...
I'm taking Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
That's his
Sonya
best...
even, specifically says, I guess I'm taking the leftovers for the palette swap ninja guy.
Man, this franchise hates her. These movies hate Sonya Blade.
Raiden gets jobbed right at the start, so he's dead for this last fight.
Oh my god, yeah, that's right. And we get James Remar going like, "No, it's cool. This is how I wanted to go out."
Liu Kang obviously fights Shao Kahn, and Katana fights her.
Yeah, and once again, the Shao Kahn fight is just Liu Kang, use your animality. Oh right.
This is the part that really pisses me off in hindsight, which is, okay, Liu Kang turns into a big dragon.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why isn't it the dragon that looks like the logo?
I mean, it's because not only is that true to the game, but that's just so obvious.
Yeah, but no, instead he turns into, some kind of character that looks like they're from a different fighting game that is worse.
It's right there. It's like you already did some of the animation for the opening sequence of this movie.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, Shao Kahn turns into the Hydra from Disney's Hercules.
Yeah, why not? He's got to turn into something. And they once again
in the games never had an animality actually.
Yeah, they added that for this movie, but also as we described these things, they look like utter garbage, like pre PS1 just shit.
Here's what I don't get is the Mortal Kombat games were always kind of highlighted for how unique they did their animation, at least the early games, right? Because they got real martial artists and actors to do poses and stuff.
No, I mean, that was so much of what blew us away, right? They didn't look or move like anything we'd seen before.
But the characters who had no real world correlation, Goros, your Motaros, were done with really clean stop motion animation.
Yep.
again, stop motion. This is a larger discussion about like the nature of special effects in Hollywood, right?
Right.
But stop motion animation was basically dead at this point.
I mean, Jurassic Park is the thing that killed it, really, right? Because that was meant to be stop motion until Spielberg saw the computer demonstrations. And from there on, everybody's like, well, if that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing.
Right. So the fact that you have these characters like Motaro, like the dragon and Hydra fight, that are just like bad blocky CG as opposed to something practical, even if it is like stop motion miniatures. Like there's bits of the Hydra that look almost stop motiony, and so I'd be curious, like I don't know if this even exists, of like any kind of how the thing was made documentary about this film. I doubt it.
They didn't bother to chronicle the making of this.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah,
but like there's bits where like the heads are coming in one. Okay,
there might be some. There might be some.
There's a little bit of animation prowess here, but then the Liu Kang dragon just looks so weird and awkward.
Yeah, it's a thing where I think they're working fast. The other thing is, I think we talked about Goro being practical in the last movie, and that being kind of a nightmare to work with. So something tells me that's sort of like, no more of that shit. That slowed us down last time.
Shiva's extra arms in this movie are CG. I mean, there are set photos there are some like practical stand-in arms if she's in wide shots and stuff.
Right. But I think, there's definitely a like, CG is fast, that's got to be, we got to get it faster. It's just easier. It's going to be so much easier if we do that. But that's also running the budget up, because this is also a time when it was more expensive to computer. Now it's gone the other way, which is interesting. Yeah. Now the computer stuff is cheaper, but and actually, here's an interesting quote right here from producer Lawrence Kasanoff, revealed that the film was released unfinished. Here's his quote: "I'm telling you, the effects in that movie are not the final effects. I never anticipated that someone would take the movie and go, it's good enough. We weren't done. We never finished that movie, but the studio said we don't care."
Wow.
So, there you go. So this apparently, we're looking at placeholder special effects.
There's a novelization of this movie.
Oh, this was the heyday of the novelization.
I need to find this.
Johnny Cage had never seen such things. Like, just trying to imagine adding interiority to these characters is so funny to think about. Liu Kang realized the animality was in him the whole time,
the whole time. As his eyes changed in the exact same scene from earlier, the footage reused.
It was at that moment that the now mortal Raiden realized that this was what death felt like, for he had truly become human, Right. It's the Family Guy joke about Peter having the novelization of Caddyshack. No, said Ty, sinking another putt. Anyway, yeah. The movie, hey, the heroes are victorious at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah, shocking nobody.
Yeah. And I don't understand, because once again, it's just like as soon as they defeat the villains, after Shao Kahn is defeated by the dragon and who's the father guy?
Oh, Shinnok.
Shinnok.
Like the other elder gods show up and they basically send him to the Phantom Zone. Like it's the same effect, honestly.
Yeah. Two of the right, and they literally like encase him in CGI blocks, and then he like wishes away.
He folds up and disappears. Yeah.
And he and Terrence Stamp can work out their differences in the Phantom Zone.
They've both got to goatee at each other long enough.
I mean, the other thing we were missing here was just a shot of, as he's floating away, him pounding out, going "No!"
Basically,
yeah, which I would have loved. Too expensive though.
Because as soon as Liu Kang beats Shao Kahn, it is just like, and we're back to normal. It's fine. Also, the other gods are going to bring Raiden back to life because it's cool.
That was like, I'm sorry, just with the way that they're just like, everything's undone, it's all fine, including Raiden. You get to be alive. hey, why not just bring back Johnny Cage while we're at it too?
My favorite is just before that scene happens, Sonya and Jax are like, what a wild couple of days. And then Sonya stops, looks off screen and go, what's up with that? And hard cut to Raiden being brought back from the dead.
I mean, we talked about the last movie having no script. This one could not have had much of a script that they were filming with. When you're doing stuff like that, hey, what's that? We don't actually know what that is going to be just yet, but we better get a shot setting something up.
The other Elder Gods are like, Raiden, your dad was a dick. Now you are the third Elder God.
Yeah. And so he's like, well, guys, I'm, back to life, and I'm actually going to be an Elder God, so I'm going to have to leave you and do my Elder God stuff, and maybe if you really need me, I'll come back in the third movie that's definitely happening.
For sure.
Robin Shou talked about he had a 3-picture deal with New Line.
There was apparently like some kind of Mortal Kombat Devastation was supposed to be the third one.
No, they were working on it because they were so ready. They thought this thing was going to be another smash, so they're like, let's get writing. They were writing it.
How did this movie end up doing?
Well, let's talk about that because this movie technically made money on a $30 million budget. Worldwide gross 51.3.
Okay.
Not what anyone wanted, though. Not what anyone wanted.
No.
After the wasn't 100 plus that the last one made.
Domestically, it only made 35. I'm seeing here.
Yeah. So Gorgone, the question is, where did that land us? Oh, I should mention. Normally, we check in with America's favorite film critic, Roger Ebert. He did not see this movie because no one saw this movie because New Line refused to screen it for critics. Always a good sign. No. They did not hold critic screenings of this movie.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's always like a death sentence for films.
Yeah. That is like, it's basically just like, it's so bad we can't risk the press. We need to try to fool people for at least a weekend that maybe it's okay.
Can you think of any examples where that isn't just like an absolute like this movie sucks out loud and we know it?
No.
Like, has there ever been an instance in which you're like, we're not going to release it to critics because it's so good, everyone needs to see it for themselves?
No. The only thing now the big thing is embargoes.
Right.
Where they'll screen it, but then you can't release a review until certain days. But a lot of that is like Marvel will do that because they want to avoid potential spoilers. There's a lot of secrecy now around critic screenings. But no, I can't think of anything where it's like, we just want the public to see it because it's so good. If your movie's good, usually a sign of a movie's good is they'll show it to critics like a couple weeks before it comes out. Mm-hmm. Like we've seen stuff like that where it's like, it's so good, hey, let's get the buzz going right away.
Right.
Yeah. No, I've never seen it be like, actually, they didn't screen it for critics and this thing fucking rules. No, it's a disaster. It's a goddamn disaster.
Where did this stack up in 1997? What are our top
1997, your top grossing movie of the year is Men in Black.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Then, of course, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, as I mentioned.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. I'll just give you your top 5 here. Liar, Liar, the Jim Carrey. That was number 3. Get Off My Plane, it's Air Force One, number 4. And number 5, remember 1997, Star Wars A New Hope, the special edition.
Yeah, special editions are rolling out. Whether or not these should count towards the original Star Wars box office is always
the special edition. You're going 137.6 million.
Woohoo!
That's crazy. I went to all of them.
Yeah, same.
Of course I did. I will say it falls. Each one falls lower. Those special editions.
Sure.
Everybody went to the first. Where is Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
I'm gonna say 101. I don't think this breaks into the top 100.
Oh, wow. You didn't give this nearly enough credit. 58.
58? Wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. We're edging towards that point in the 90s where what a movie can make is becoming a bigger number than people ever thought possible.
I mean, this did a hell of a lot better than Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, which was number 139 with only 8.3 million.
Yeah, well, look, the second Power Rangers movie has problems, and it's the complete and total lack of Ivan Ooze.
Give the people what they want. More ooze.
More Ivan Ooze.
I definitely saw it in the theater, though. I definitely went to Turbo.
I mean, sure. Same.
Yeah. Interesting time. I gotta say, a movie that is terrible, but I'm surprised to see in the top 10 in 97 at number 9 is Batman and Robin. That movie didn't tank.
It didn't tank. Everyone saw it, and everyone kind of collectively was like, "Well, we're done with these, right?"
Yeah. No, it's that we talk about this every once in a while. Where it's like, even if a thing makes money, sometimes you can just feel it in the air. They're like, that wasn't good though.
I mean, the same thing happened with Justice League, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a few things like that have happened where it's just
like everyone saw it and everyone was like, but it wasn't good.
I mean,
right?
I think the ultimate example of it is a movie. This is a different podcast. I'm not allowed to talk about it here. Rise of Skywalker, a movie that made $1 billion, but no one likes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really funny. Yeah. So there you go. Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
This did not even crack the top 50. Okay.
58 though. I mean, that's better than.
Okay.
There's because this is definitely, as you bring up, what a movie can make. There's so much stuff that's in the $20 to $40 million range at this point. There's a ton of stuff, middle ground movies.
But we hadn't quite broken through the things can make $500 million barrier yet.
Right. I mean, Men in Black is number 1 with $250 million.
Right. And I think it is 1999, 2000. Because what is it? The first Spider-Man movie that does the absolute.
It's the first to make $100 million opening weekend.
Yeah,
and that was Jesus. Who knew that was possible?
Right, that number exists.
And the problem, as we always talk about with these, is once somebody makes $100 million opening weekend, everybody's like, "Well, I want to make $100 million opening weekend." And once something made $1 billion, it's like, "Well, we've got to make $1 billion." It's right. All of a sudden, these now become the goalposts. And you're like, well, no, wait, hang on. Not everything needs to be. Oh, okay. Let's check in.
The goalposts now, I feel are getting back to where we were in the mid '90s.
I think so. God, I hope so. I mean, I think now we're just hanging on for dear life at the movie theater.
And occasionally we'll have an Avengers movie.
Well, I gotta say that's a big problem. Is anytime anything does hit big, they're like, "Here we go, baby! It's starting up again." No,
yeah,
these are gonna be blips. This whole idea about there's not gonna be one movie that's now they're going every weekend again and it's happening. Anyway,
every weekend we have Top Gun, every single one.
Yeah, that was a big one. It was Tom Cruise is coming roaring. Oh, what's that? Oh, nothing else made anything close to that. Okay. All right, let's talk about some highs and lows before we get out of here. Okay. All right, this comes to us from Valjean 4.
Is he manning the barricades against this movie?
Can you hear the people sing? Sing it. No. Yeah. All right. Title of the review. This is probably the worst sequel ever. The problem with Mortal Kombat Annihilation isn't that it's stupid with no significant plot, dialogue, or characters. That is undebatably true of Annihilation, but what is also true with the first Mortal Kombat movie, and that was a great movie. Oh, no, but that was also true with the first Mortal Kombat movie, and that was a great movie. Let me step out of you for a second. Big statement there. Great movie? Okay. The problem is the huge letdown in the martial arts and special effects scenes. Mortal Kombat has a terrific fight scenes such as the brilliant Cage versus Scorpion fight in the forest, the great Liu Kang versus Sub-Zero fight, and the cool finale with Shang Tsung. Annihilation didn't have any fight scenes up to the quality of those three. Many of the fight scenes made no sense, and the finale was horrible. In addition, some things in Annihilation I would really like an explanation for. Yes, Gorgone, it's another list of questions that are unanswered by this movie.
Cool. Didn't we just spend an hour and a half doing that, John?
Why did Raiden dress up like Aladdin halfway through the movie? Was looking like a complete dork part of becoming mortal? And where was Christopher Lambert anyway? Filming Beowulf.
Beowulf.
Yeah, read the trivia, man. What was the third test? Where did the wolf guy go? What happened to Sub-Zero? All things we kind of, yeah.
They shot their scene and then they left. That's the answer.
Yeah. Why did they do that stupid thing with Jax's bionic arm? Stupid movies should admit they are stupid movies. Stupid movies which try to have serious elements become bad movies. Same deal with Katana's mother.
They should admit they're stupid movies. You want an actor to like stop the film halfway through and go, "Look, everyone, we know this is a stupid film, right?
Just go with us."
Moving on.
Yeah. Same deal with Katana's mother. What was the point of that huge monster that came out of nowhere to attack Sonya, then immediately went back to its hole when Jax hit it on the head? Was it a whack-a-mole?
Yes.
Yeah. A wizard did it. He made a whack-a-mole.
A wizard did it. Yeah.
How is it that Sonya and Jade began to fight in a desert, then immediately fall into a mud pit?
Because it's wet at the bottom of that quarry.
Yeah. It's a wet quarry. Why did Smoke meticulously break every window in that random building before fighting Sonya and Jax? Because it's cool.
Also, that wasn't Smoke.
Oh, was it not? I don't...
That was Cyrax.
Okay.
And if you film glass breaking in slow motion, it looks cool and it costs very little money.
Yep. What was the point of having Liu Kang turn to a dragon? He just turned into a human again without having done anything effective as a dragon. How was that useful?
Because the producers of this film saw Dragonheart and were like, I think that can make us some money.
Yeah. Brian Thompson, by the way, also in Dragonheart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Why didn't they spend more than $80 on the special effects for that dragon? I could do better than that with miniatures and clay animation. We went over this. How is it that this movie could have been made so badly with such bad cinematography and such pathetic martial arts effect after the first one was so good? Welcome to filmmaking. Anyway, 1 out of 10 stars. That's the end of the review. Just some questions.
Just a series of existential questions. It's some like Plato-like reflections on the nature of filmmaking and how a bad movie can be made.
All right. How about let's check in with somebody who disagrees with that. This comes to us from Dainton9.
Okay, John, I just want to make a prediction here. Is this a 10 out of 10?
Oh, yeah, of course it is. These are, yeah.
Okay. So my 10 out of 10 bad movie reviews on IMDb prediction list. Play along at home if you've heard this one.
Yeah.
Other people should stop taking the movie so seriously. I watched this when I was a child, and I remember it fondly. People need to just enjoy bad stuff, or get high and watch it, and you'll enjoy it.
I mean, you're in the realm for sure. Yeah. Anyway, Dainton9's title of the review: a very cool Mortal Kombat adaptation. Interesting, fun, and spectacular. Many people complain that this movie is bad or worst ever and such things, but it's maybe because they haven't played the game, or for them the budget is too low. But all this is damn the real thing, that the movie is a perfect adaptation. Almost all players have appeared in this movie, their movements and even their special abilities. Smoke launches rockets with the same movement as in the game. Jax returns, but now with his metal arms, all caps, exclamation point. Cyrax launches acid web, Sub-Zero freezes. Yeah, I know the budget's not too big, but that's not the point. The point that the director tried to transcribe the game universe on screen, and did it successfully. There's a lot of encounters, special effects, cool techno music, and all this makes it very interesting. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I like the game, and I admire low-budget movies with their cheap effects, but if you don't, simply don't watch it. Play the Mortal Kombat game series, and then compare the movie. 10 out of 10 stars. So it's a distinct... They just did all the things in the game, so perfect.
In this reviewer's opinion, what makes a good adaptation is simply showing the thing... from the thing you're adapting on the screen, and that equals good adaptation.
I mean, I will say we've run into a number of people with that opinion about stuff, so...
With that thought in mind, that makes Zack Snyder's Watchmen the perfect movie adaptation?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. He just did the things from the comic.
Uh-huh.
Why would you not?
And 300 actually suffers because they added more stuff because there wasn't enough stuff in the comic.
What was all that shit with his wife? Who cares? That wasn't in the comic. Bullshit. Yeah. Well, there you go. Couple of differing opinions on that one. Gorgone, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I wouldn't put this into the pantheon of video game movies.
No. Look, I'll recommend the first one for like a kitschy good time.
Yeah.
I think there's stuff to be enjoyed.
No, I think
there.
the first one you can have fun with. This one is such a slog.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Do not recommend.
Yeah.
Just skip straight to the 2021 one.
The 2021 one is, I think, actually good. I mean, once again, but the barometer being Mortal Kombat. I think that is as good a Mortal Kombat movie as you're going to make.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yeah. Well, Gorgone won't. You'll be back soon enough because you're taking up the slack on most of these, as we've talked about.
Look, when I agreed to do Warcraft, that was a certain a Rubicon was crossed of like, look, I'm gonna be picking up the slack on some of this stuff.
Yeah. But you get at least the next couple weeks off as Brendan Jones slides in as my partner for the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider films.
Ah, very good.
So for the next 2 weeks, we'll be doing
are definitely starring Angelina Jolie and
movies. I remember at least the first one seen in the theater and thinking, that's all right.
I remember seeing the trailer for the second one a ton because I think it was in front of the VHS for Mask of Zorro.
Oh, could be, yeah.
And I just remember seeing that trailer a lot because it was on the front of some VHS.
That easily could be. Here's the thing. I don't know if I've seen the second one. I might have. I maybe saw the second one. But yes, Brendan will be doing. We'll have Brendan Jones on the show next week for Lara Croft: Tomb Raider. As the official title of that. So
have fun with that. I'm gonna go take a Mortal Kombat Annihilation and do some nap.
Yeah, I think you'll be back with us though soon enough to talk about some Doom coming our way.
Ooh.
Yeah. Doom, sir. Yeah. So, but of course, if you want to find us online there where we're at, you want to support us, you can go to our Patreon page. That's how I realized that.
I was going to say, you found us online. If you're listening to this, you found us.
Yeah. Patreon.com/PunchUpEnt. That's PunchUpENT. Get cool exclusive bonus content from all the shows on the Punch Up Entertainment Network. Where else can people check us out, Gorgone?
YouTube. One of the best places to find us actually is youtube.com/@PunchUpEntertainment. While you're there, you got YouTube exclusive content like the visual form of the podcast we host together, May the Panel Be With You, where you can read along with us as we deep dive into the world of Star Wars comic books. You also have Punch Up Plays. That is the Let's Play show that Elliot Lewis and I do, another continual guest on this show, as well as every other show on the Punch Up Entertainment Network is available, like this one even, in YouTube form.
Indeed. So head over.
There, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below if you're watching this movie. How do the Mortal Kombat adaptations rank up for you? And where do you stick Defenders of Earthrealm, the short-lived 90s cartoon show?
Oh, yeah. We talked a little bit about that. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of the IPs. Go on. Until next week, the case file is closed.